Shazia, for all those inputs on that front. All right, now we are being joined by Shazia Ilmi, who's the BJP national spokesperson. And I welcome you, ma'am, to NewsX, and I thank you for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. Let me start off this discussion with how crucial and big is this 33% reservation for women in the parliament as a reform for India's democracy?
I think it's huge. I think we've waited for this day for so many years. And I think the country's daughters and women citizens have waited for more than 3 decades for this to come through. And I think it's only fair that it happens now, the sooner the better. And it's been a very long wait. Now, since '96, this has been talked about, debated, thrown out, put on a cold burner, discussed, deliberated upon, and nothing has come through. So finally, when it's happened in 23, is when it was passed and it was made into an act. We are delighted. The only thing is that now is time for it to be implemented as soon as possible so we can reap the benefits in the next coming elections.
Absolutely, ma'am. And can you help us understand why it was crucial to implement this immediately and why a special session has in fact been called for the same?
I mean, surely the parliamentarians of India can come together, parliamentarians who reflect the will of the people, to discuss a very important session such as Women's Reservation Bill and how it will be implemented. It is already an act. It has been enacted. It is very much important legislation, I would say historic. So I think it's only fair for everybody to be there for a special session to deliberate, discuss, and a very proactive session, and give their opinions and then work towards.
Ma'am, I also want to understand from your experience, how difficult has it been for women to rise in Indian politics?
Oh, it's an arduous journey. It's been very tough. We've never really gone beyond 16 or 17%, at most 18% of the entire parliament. So when you look at 33% reservation, with 33% being the minimum there would be, I feel elated, and I'm sure most women such as you and many others would feel, because women have such a better shot at it. And so just grassroots workers, regular folks, women who do not come from strong, affluent political families now do have a chance. And parties do not have a choice but now to give at least 33% tickets to those women. So delimitation is an important part of it. Only after delimitation is done, which will be a way to figure out as to which constituencies will be identified as the constituencies reserved for women. And of course, this will be there for 15 years, and this will change. It will be by rotation, because it can never be a permanent women reserve seat, so to speak. So I think it'll be very interesting, and there's so much to look forward to.
Absolutely. And how would the inclusion of more women parliamentarians actually help improve the functioning of the parliament and also democracy in general, if I can ask you that?
I think, democracy, when you talk about democracy, it implies that, I mean, there'll be no discrimination on the basis of gender, class, caste, religion, region, language, whatsoever. But we've seen that women have not been able to breach that mark, have not been able to go beyond it. So it's important that there is some kind of an affirmative action for women, and they are given this this chance, that there has to be, because otherwise there's no way they can compete in that level. But to have a fixed arakshan or reservation close to 33% is the minimum one can do for women in different parties across different regions, different states, provinces, to be there and represent themselves in the state legislatures and the parliament. And yes, it matters. Women as decision makers, not just not in just homes and offices, but in the parliament, in the state assembly, matters. They must speak. They must speak for the nation and express themselves politically.
In fact, on that front, ma'am, let me probe you about your experience as well, because why is it important to have women in administrative roles?
Of course, women should be part of administrative roles. Women should be part of all roles. Wherever decisions are to be taken, whatever field it is, across sectors, women should have leadership roles and should be there. And why they should be there in decision making, in administration and administrative work, is because they know they must get a chance at doing all the things men have been doing, and I think they've always proven themselves. And it's high time that we see more and more women leaders representing their constituencies, taking decisions for their constituencies, for their parties, and doing a stellar job as they will do. It seems, I mean, it's terrible to see sometimes, women being so underrepresented in certain state assemblies, sometimes even in the parliament. So we definitely need more and more women leaders there, and across the spectrum.
And ma'am, a lot of controversy, in fact, has arisen also regarding and surrounding this bill. Why was it necessary to do this thing by increasing the Lok Sabha seats to 850? Because the opposition's point of objection has been delimitation.
I mean, when this happened, I mean, the first time the boundaries were drawn and constituencies were made, when you look at the first delimitation exercise, I mean, how many years back was that? So look at the population that has gone up. I don't think it's fair to a constituency or to the constituent or to that person who represents that constituency to take care of so many more voices, people, citizens, the grievances, and all that has to be done. So only because the population has gone up so many times, we need to have more and more people representing them. I think it's very unfair. You think of a class with one teacher, of a class with 30 students, and think of a class with 100 students. Which class will do well? So it's one of those things. We need to go ahead, have more and more better representation, more people representing more people. So there'll be many more MPs representing constituencies which have so far become very unwieldy by the size, so to speak, and because of the population, which must be, added to, so that they have people there who vote for them, have better representation.
Absolutely, ma'am. You have wonderfully explained why delimitation is also necessary for this bill. But I thank you so much for taking out your time and for speaking to NewsX. Always a pleasure. With that, in fact, we are wrapping up this bulletin and slipping into a short commercial.